The second hour starts right now, Monday, January 13th, 2014. I just want to finish up on the thought that I started in the first hour. The technical glitch at the very beginning kind of threw me off, and I hadn't really hit my stride. So here's what I was attempting to say, and here's what I'd like to communicate now to kind of finish up this thought form. Acupuncture and homeopathy and many other types of medical treatment, faith healing, hands-on, touch for health. You'll go to religious revivals, right, and have spontaneous spiritual healings. These things are all extremely inside the zone of metaphysics. This is metaphysical medicine. It's stuff going on, but medical science does not have the ability to measure the tools that are used or know how they work. They can guesstimate what's going on, but nobody knows how homeopathic medicines work. A typical homeopathic medicine is diluted well beyond Avogadro's number, which means the possibility of even one molecule of the original substance being in the medicine that you've given the person is infinite, which means you've diluted the crap out of the medicinal agent, and there's nothing of material value left in the homeopathic medicine, which is why conventional medical doctors who are completely against anything metaphysical think that homeopathy is all placebo. But, until about 20 years ago, not even, 10 years ago, I think, nobody knew why bumblebees could fly. Had no idea. Because the weight of the bumblebee's body, say that 10 times fast, the bumblebee's body, was supposed to be too great for the little tiny wings to be able to lift. It just didn't fly with physics. The wings are too small. Well, the bumblebees can't fly. That was the position of medical science. And bumblebees flew, but they didn't know the mechanism. Then they developed ultra high-speed photography, and somebody in California, I think at the California Polytechnic or UC Southern California, they discovered that at the very top of the flap of the bumblebee's wing, there was a little hinge, a little eeny-weeny-teeny hinge on the top at the edge of the wing that flapped over. And it was that little eeny-weeny-teeny hinge on the top of the wing that gave turbulence to the downstroke, which afforded the bumblebee the aerodynamic possibility of lifting up. So they figured it out. But for years they saw that, of course, everybody knew that bumblebees could fly, but they didn't know the mechanism. Well, it's the same with homeopathy. We know that it works, we just don't know the mechanism. Same thing with acupuncture. We know that it works. For goodness sake, they use acupuncture in China as anesthesia for surgery, like major surgeries. But most Western medical doctors will tell you it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all placebo. It's got nothing to do with reality, which is an insane point of view. It is an insane point of view. Because the world that we live in is a dualistic world. Up and down, night and day, good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, light, right and left, man and woman, dead and alive, winter, summer, spring, fall, right? Well, the dualistic nature of the universe, there's physics and there's metaphysics. And I could argue easily that the metaphysical aspect of what it is that makes up a human being eclipses the physical aspect. That the metaphysical stuff going on here is 100 times bigger and more important in the greater scheme of things than the physical stuff that's going on here. But in the wonderful world of Western science, if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist, and metaphysics is all smoke and mirrors and hokum and nonsense. So the Western medical doctor doesn't believe in acupuncture. Western medical doctor doesn't believe in homeopathy. Western medical doctor doesn't believe in consciousness. Western medical doctor is trained to believe that your consciousness is a function of biochemistry. That once you're dead, it's over. You're gone. There's no spirit. There's no life after death. There's no nothing metaphysical, and you're just a biochemical soup. That's all that you are. And this is the insane point of view that the MD brings to bear on every single solitary flippin' thing that they do. Now, in the wonderful world of medical nutrition, we are less metaphysical than our homeopathic cousins and the people that do acupuncture and the people that do faith healing. Because we deliver nutrients which have been proven to be essential for human health. So it's kind of like we've got a foot in both worlds here with medical nutrition. Because on the one hand, everybody in science, in conventional medicine, agrees that these nutrients are essential for health, and if you don't have them, you're going to die. But on the other hand, where we give honor to the metaphysical reality of what it is to be a human being is through the understanding that the human body knows how to fix itself, that the human body wants to fix itself, that the human body is endowed with a God-given ability to fix itself, that your body has wisdom. Your body was so smart it grew itself all by itself from a single-celled organism into you. Your body is so smart that it regulates everything, all of the time, outside of your conscious control. Your heart beats. Why does your heart beat? Well, how did that start? What is it, just an electrical impulse? Well, where did the electricity come from? What the heck? And why does it stop beating? Why does the body decay? But, I could go on and on. My point here is that medical nutrition has a foot in both worlds, except if you're an MD. This is why, you can go to school and study to become a nutritionist, but you're an allopathic nutritionist. You don't know anything about the true nature of what it is to be a human being. Your view of medicine is lopsided. It's lopsided. It's like only looking at this at night. You consider yourself, an expert on planet Earth, but you only go out and collect your data at night. Everything that happens in the daytime, you're completely unaware of. And you call yourself a scientist. Well, this is the way that it is in the world of today. All of the scientists are lopsided. All of the scientists are lopsided because they have no appreciation, respect, or even approximation of anything metaphysical. To them, it's all hokum. And that's why they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. The reality of the situation is that you are not your body. You are a spirit inhabiting a body. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. That's the reality of the situation. And the interface between your spirit and your body is one that needs investigation. Now, the yogic people, the yogis, have investigated this interface for thousands of years. Acupuncturists have investigated this interface for thousands of years. Ayurvedic medicine addresses this interface. Acupuncture, homeopathy address this interface. But your medical doctor is blind to it. And their arrogance disallows them from seeing what's real. Remember, they're like colorblind art critics who don't know that they're colorblind. They only go out at night. They have no idea what goes on during the daytime. And yet they draw conclusions which seem to them to be, across the board the way that it is. It's their way or the highway. And this is why their therapeutics are the leading cause of death. This is why their therapeutics are the leading cause of bankruptcy. This is why they change their point of view all of the time. Oh, these are the real high blood pressure numbers. Oh, no, these are the real cholesterol numbers. Oh, no, this is the real cause of polio. They change all the time because their therapeutic is lopsided. But life isn't. So life comes rolling in and, something happens and the MD has to figure out how to add that into their worldview, and they can't. It's like fitting a square peg into a round hole. So they don't take responsibility for their own mistakes and they blame you. It can't be the doctor's lack of understanding. It's you've got a bad gene. That's what it is. Everything's genetic, right? I mean, this is the scapegoat. If you took anti-inflammatories, if you took prednisone and the gene theory away from MDs, they would have nothing for you. Nothing. They'd have nothing to say. You know, they'd have Novocaine and they'd have the sterile technique and they'd have the mattress suture all sewn up. Pun intended. But that's it. That's the long and the short of it. You know, one more reason to fire your medical doctor now, because their understanding of how the human body works is incorrect, fundamentally flawed. And yet their arrogance before the fact disallows them from seeing that there really is a daytime. There really is a daytime, but they refuse to see it. They refuse to investigate it. They refuse to have any type of understanding of it whatsoever. And this is why you must avoid them like the plague. Because they bring to the table lopsided, old-fashioned, outdated, dangerous, ineffective, expensive therapeutics to the table, the intention of which is not to cure anything. The intention of which is just to manage things until they get so bad that they need to be cut out. For goodness sake, ladies and gentlemen, it's time we all collectively woke up together. You know, you're smart enough to tune into this station, and you've got to have a clue. It's like those Harry Potter novels, right, where there were the witches and the warlocks and the people that could do magic and the muggles. People that had no idea about the magical stuff whatsoever. Well, that's kind of what this is like. There's people that understand that there's a metaphysical part to life. It's intimately involved with every breath. And there's people that are blind to the reality of who they are. Even then, some of those people even go to church, which is one of life's greatest ironies to me. Stick around, why don't you? Go to Florida, see what Debbie's up to when we come back. It's January in Chicago. That means I got Florida on my mind. How about you? Let's go down to Florida and see what Debbie's up to. Hey, Debbie, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden. I called before about diarrhea, taking tangerine, so you suggested going to the peach infusion, and I did that. And then I diluted it, and I mean, like so much that, you know, it almost looks like water, and I sip it all day, and I still get diarrhea. Is there something else that's equivalent to that I could take?
Son of a gun.
Uh-oh.
I was hoping you weren't going to say that, because I'm kind of up against a rock and a hard place here, because first of all, thanks for following my advice. Thanks for giving it a try. And it's not the supplement that's causing it. It's the inability of your digestive tract to absorb it that's causing it, right? So have you had, because if it was the supplement, right, everybody who took the supplement would get diarrhea from it. You follow that logic? Mm-hmm. So this is actually kind of a backwards diagnostic indication that your body is having trouble in the small intestine area. So the recommendation here is you have to go gluten-free, no matter what else you do, no matter what supplements you take or whatever you do for the rest of your life. As far as holistic medicine goes, you must be gluten-free, because presumptively, right, the tissue that absorbs nutrients into your body is in your small intestine. Mm-hmm. And those tissues have been damaged because you're not absorbing the Beyond Tangy Tangerine efficiently, and so it's passing through your small intestine, dumping into your colon, where it's causing diarrhea. What causes it to pass through the small intestine unabsorbed? Destruction of the intestinal tissue. Now, unless you work in a nuclear reactor, the nuclear power plant, the main thing that causes the destruction of the intestinal environment is wheat, barley, rye, and oats over a long period of time. So,
right, and I've been gluten-free for 9 months.
Yeah, which is great. You're going to need to be gluten-free for the rest of your life. And now it's entirely possible that 6 months from now, or a year from now, as you continue to be gluten-free for longer and longer and longer and longer, that your system will bounce back and you'll be able to absorb the Beyond Tangy Tangerine without any problem. That's entirely possible. But, that's not now, when we've got to deal with it right now and kind of figure out a workaround for this, right? And I wish I knew one. The closest that you can get to this is the Ultimate Daily Capsules and the plant-derived minerals.
Okay.
So 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules and 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals will kind of sort of come close anyway to what you're getting from the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's more stuff in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, but that's not a bad second fiddle while we're waiting for the gastrointestinal tract to pop back. And, of course, another thing that you can do to accelerate the rejuvenation of the intestinal tract and to increase your absorption ability would be to add some type of probiotic into your daily life for, like 6 months.
Oh, for 6 months, okay.
Yeah, so the Nightly Essence or the Root Beer Belly or something like that. But you got to take that stuff over and over and over again because your system's in trouble and it needs help. It's kind of like some people have a sprained ankle. Well, you've got a sprained ankle and a compound triple fracture of your leg bone. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. If you can't absorb the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 at an extremely dilute dose, the game is afoot here. So we really have to kind of treat your system with kid gloves and give it lots and lots of nutritional support for your gut. And the easiest way to do that is with the Root Beer Belly. Have you ever tried the Ultimate Daily Caps?
Yeah, I'm actually right now I'm doing 3 a day. And
how much do you weigh?
115.
Okay. Yeah, so I would continue 3 a day. That's not a bad. 4 would be better. 2 twice a day. And the plant minerals. You need the plant minerals. And Longevity has 3 ways to get that. A liquid way, it's just called plant-derived minerals. Another liquid way, it's the plant-derived minerals with a little bit of cherry flavor added to it. That's called the Cherry Mints. And they also have the plant minerals in a freeze-dried capsule. It's called the Ultimate Minerals. So whichever one floats your boat. You want to do 1 bottle of either per 100 pounds per month. Give that a try. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. January 13th, 2014. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Please visit my website, fireyourmdnow.com. Get informed. Save a life or 2. Why don't you? And you can tell your friends and family members, hey, at the next Thanksgiving dinner, hey, what'd you do last weekend, Bob? Oh, I played golf. How about you, Harry? Well, I saved somebody's life. Not a bad way to start a week. Let's go to Santa Cruz and see what Douglas is up to. Hey, Douglas, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. This is Douglas, and back in August of this last year, I called you on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program as you were sitting in for Dr. Wallach regarding a 70-year-old friend of mine who was recovering from what he believed was Lyme disease.
Yeah.
And the allopathic physicians had treated him as if he had ALS, and he had seen the top physicians group in Northern California regarding that at the major UC Medical Center in San Francisco. You recommended, and he had been kind of left with that diagnosis. Treatment just didn't work. He had, infections and treatments for that. And he eventually ended up in a acute care facility, and he's been there for 14 months. About 5 months ago, I talked to you about, is there anything that might save him from what looked like death in 90 days? And you recommended a Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, 3 extra bottles of selenium, the Triple Treat Chocolate, and Z-Radical. He's been on that for a little over 3 months. He's regained about 30 pounds of weight. His muscular structure is dramatically improved, but he's still tied to the ventilator. And his hands, while they are better and more functional than they were, when he was at his worst, can't really straighten out. And it seems like maybe there's something still there that is restricting part of his body from coming back to full normal.
Okay, so the hands can't straighten out because there's arthritic stuff going on there, or what?
It seems like it's more related to what was happening when the illness first affected him. That's how he first noticed something was wrong, and he started losing the function of his hands to be able to work with power tools in his construction-type business.
Yeah, okay. Is there anything else? All right, good. I'm with you, Douglas, 100%. Is there anything else going on, like he's got heartburn or he's got high blood pressure or he's got...
No. He's just that he was noticing some kind of like a hot flash through his muscles that he was getting, from the physical therapy as he was starting to do bar dips, trying to increase his arm strength as part of the physical therapy. And they noticed there were some aches and pains as a result of doing that. And but that was pretty much it.
Okay, good. Well, sorry. So
later, and getting his hands straightened out, and continuing to do his improved distances and things on the physical therapy side.
All right, good. So when all else fails, and we're up against it, and we're getting improvement, but then we hit a wall, it's never, ever a bad idea to add extra plant minerals. It's never, ever a bad idea to add extra plant minerals. So I would get him 2 bottles of either the Cherry Mints or the Plant-Derived. How much does he weigh, by the way?
He's now at 165.
Oh, yeah, great. So 2 bottles of either the Cherry Mints or the Plant-Derived minerals, and have him do 1 ounce of that twice a day, extra to what he's already doing now. Now, whenever we're trying to, support and promote neurological function, it's never a bad idea also to increase consumption of food that's high in cholesterol. Has he been doing that?
Yeah, he actually, has a son who's a master chef, and and so he brings him some meals. He's at the care facility, so it's normally the hospital-type meals that aren't particularly nutritious, but he probably gets about 4 days' worth of meals brought in by his wife when she can get away, and by his son, who's a
okay,
major.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's a little bit ahead of the game in that regard. So we want to, of course, he needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods.
Yes.
Right. And he needs to increase his consumption of foods that are high in cholesterol because his central nervous system is made from cholesterol. So that's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, I'd be happy to have the, you know what it might be interesting to do? I don't know if you can manage this. You might be able to manage this with hard-boiled eggs. Have him for 4 weeks eat 6 eggs a day. For 4 weeks, have him eat 6 eggs a day and see if that gives him a leg up on any of this stuff. I'm going to hope that it will.
If it's hard-boiled, then it could be prepared ahead of time.
I know.
As opposed to trying to do poached eggs or something like that, because he's dependent upon the food preparation that's available at the subacute care facility.
Got it. But so there's only one potential drawback with this strategy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you hard boil an egg, if you cook it too long, the yolk gets gray or green or develops a gray or green ring around it.
Right.
If the yolk has gone from yellow to gray or green, then the cholesterol has been degraded. Now, there is a way to hard boil an egg so that you maintain the integrity of the cholesterol in the yolk and that the yolk is bright yellow when you slice it open. I have no idea how to do that.
Okay. I suspect he may know, or his son may know, being chefs educated through Alice Waters' restaurant in Berkeley.
Wow, boy, you got to love that then. Yeah, I mean, so have him do 6 eggs a day, however he can shake it. Make sure he puts salt on them, okay? And if he's going to eat, a poached egg or a soft-boiled egg, or sometimes even if he gets a hard-boiled egg and he heats it up like in a microwave or something, you can mash it up in a plate and add some butter and salt to it, real butter and real salt. That could be a potential solution here. And really, again, this all comes down to common sense, right? If you had a broken bone, well, then it would make sense to you to eat food and to take supplements that are high in calcium, or, foods that presumptively are high in calcium. Well, if you have a central nervous system dysfunction, then it's prudent to give your body stuff that the central nervous system is made out of. And that was the rationale behind the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. So I would add some more plant minerals into the bargain here, and I would increase cholesterol in a kind of over-the-top, overboard fashion for 4 weeks in a row, and see if that delivers any noticeable, measurable, positive change.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right,
Douglas,
very much.
You're welcome, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate the follow-up. I appreciate your trust. And we're getting there, right? And this is what we lean on, folks, is results, results, results. Remember, healing is a process. It's not an event. It unfolds over time. As long as things somewhere are improving in a noticeable, measurable fashion, we are good to go. All right, let's go north of the border now to the cold, snowy plains of Alberta and see what Barb is up to. Hey, Barb, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I kind of got my blood boiling there with your intro because I'm having such a tough time with the doctors, and I have fired my MD because I've just about had it.
Yeah.
I've been sick for about a year. I have been gluten-free, sugar-free, processed food-free for over a year. I've had a lot of digestive disorders. Last being, I've had IBS, diarrhea IBS for years that I controlled with food, and I know a lot of my decisions are based on food. Right now, I'm sort of stabilizing because I found the 4 foods I can eat, which are antibiotic and hormone-free chicken, beef, bison, and green beans. If I stick to those 4 foods, I stabilize and I'm good, even though I am on Endocort, which is a milder steroid. I refuse to go on prednisone. They were going to cut my colon out because nothing worked based on their management theory. And I said, this is food-related. And they're like, no, that's not food-related. It's not about the food. I said, yeah, it's about the food. It might be not the food in respect, but it's the proteins in the food that I'm reacting to. Long story short, I still have really low blood pressure. Like today it's 97/60. It's around 90/50 sometimes. I have a severe geographical tongue. I don't know why. My tongue is always patchy. I have a bump on the gum every time I eat foods besides those 4 foods. I get pain under my right rib cage. I've had CT scans. I am on a pancreatic enzyme. I was thinking maybe there's a lot of theory out there about fecal transplants now to get the good bacteria back in the gut. I don't know if this is what happened, but I can tell you this all started after September 2011. I had a hysterectomy and they gave me antibiotics. And the following year, I developed severe diarrhea to everything I ate. Went to naturopath, said I had a parasite, treated me for a parasite. I still got worse and worse and worse and worse, and then I got the lymphocytic colitis, which then led into severe allergies. So whether I now have a leaky gut on top of everything, I don't know. But the tongue thing really has me baffled because I know the yin and yang and the Eastern medicine, and that's a sign there's heat in my liver.
So, I mean, have you been to a traditional Chinese medical doctor or an acupuncturist?
Yes, I did last year, and I did it for, it's expensive. I did it for 6 weeks. He did put me on a medication to help get the heat out. And I had hives at that time all over my back. It helped somewhat. I also did NAET. I'm back to NAET again because I need whatever help I can get. And I am highly allergic to gelatin, casein, which he's treating me for, lots of water chemicals. Like, it's just beyond, it's to the point where you just are like, really, can I even eat anything anymore? Because it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I watched, thank you to Sherry Bob for getting me involved with you, but I watched your webinar on allergies, and it mentioned that allergies, right now I'm on ketotibin, which is a mast cell stabilizer, but you mentioned that when you have an allergy, an antibody is formed, and then it takes a year for that antibody to leave, so you have to stay off that food for a year. But that means I have 4 foods to eat.
Well, maybe. I mean, you're the smartest girl in Alberta because you
well,
figured
I'm not into my doctors anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you've had to figure all of this out your own, and you get no help from the people that the government takes money from your paycheck every month in order to support them. And it's nuts. It's nonsense.
I just come out in tears every time.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so again, have you done any of the longevity stuff at all? Have you started any of the 90 essential nutrients?
This is my first week involved with you guys.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. So our basic fundamental position is everything's connected. Your gut is connected to, everything's connected. Your body is a holistic smorgasbord of interrelated parts. And some people have a weakness in the stomach or a weakness in the small intestine or a weakness in the right kidney or a weakness in the right shoulder or a weakness in the left lobe of the lung or whatever, right? Different people have different weaknesses in their body that are kind of baked into the cake. What we do for everybody in fundamental foundation medical nutrition, holistic magic, is we provide everybody with all of the all of the raw materials, all of the essential nutrients that their bodies need in order to function optimally. And then, in your case, we give a little extra gut support. And when you deliver all of the essential nutrients in absorbable formulations, plus a little extra gut stuff in your case, that's when the magic happens, and that's how we optimize the healing. So stick around, Barb. I'll dial this in for you when we come back. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, finishing it up today with Barbara from Alberta. Barbara, you still with me?
I'm still here.
All right. So I have a couple of peculiar questions for you. Are you bothered on a regular basis by night sweats?
No.
And do physical ailments in your body show up in a crosswise manner, like your right shoulder and your left hip, or your left toe and your right hip, or is there anything that goes diagonally across your body on a regular basis as far as pain or discomfort goes?
No, and that's what's funny. The only pain I ever get is just a little bit of pain behind my knee after I eat certain foods, a little achiness, but I have no pain anywhere except my gut. Okay,
and what's it feel like in your gut?
It hurts when I eat the wrong food. Like I get pain, then I'll have diarrhea, and then I won't be able to stop. And then I've lost like 60 pounds in a year. I'm like 160 pounds.
Yeah, will your abdomen get swollen and, you look like you're 4 months pregnant?
No, it doesn't bloat.
Okay. Any problem with your liver?
Well, I think it's, when I do the blood work, it says it's okay. My albumin was low, of course, because of the nutrients was very bad. My albumin was very bad. But my liver, I don't know. I did have a lot of hives at one point when I was detoxing, when I went on the specific carbohydrate diet back in March.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think my liver was overworked then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in complicated situations like this, especially complications around the gut, we need to start somewhere, see how it goes, and then modify and tweak the program appropriately. And this is one of the great things about longevity, right, that they have a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah, and that's what enticed me, because I've spent so much money already on things that aren't working. And
I know.
This tongue thing has got me baffled, and I know it's a sign that something's wrong, but nobody can tell me what. Well,
a geographic tongue is an indication that your liver is funky. It's also an indication that your small intestine is funky.
Yeah.
It gets a lot more complicated than that. And you know what? I'm going to, and because of my empathy with your situation, in tomorrow's radio show, in the first part of the radio show, I'm going to talk about geographic tongue, and, the whole thing about it. So if you can't tune in live, just listen to the podcast. Because it's a very interesting thing to talk about, actually. It's a very interesting thing to talk about. But in any event, so what we do here, right, number one, there's 10 foods that we've identified as bad for you. You need to stop eating them. And
Which I have, like, at 9 months. The only thing that I haven't taken out is olive oil, because that's my only fat. I can't have butter because I'm allergic to casein.
All right, so then eat clarified butter. So you know how to do that?
I'm trying ghee right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's a little rich, but I'm trying.
Yeah, okay. So the less oil you have, the better you're going to be. But, you're in the weeds here, and that I'm not really going to be concerned with that, with oil that much, unless you're doing more than like a quart.
Really, the only part, I just marinate my meat in it.
Yeah, okay. All right. So eliminate the 10 bad foods, number one. Number two, how much do you weigh?
106.
All right. So I would get 1 healthy digestion pack and 2 bottles of selenium. 1 healthy digestion pack, 2 bottles of selenium, and 1 bottle of Mackey Plus, MAQUI Plus, Mackey Plus. That's the aloe vera supplement with antioxidant.
No minerals?
Yeah, the minerals are in the healthy digestion pack.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, and how did you find out about us anyway?
Well, I belong to a lot of forums on Facebook for leaky gut, candida, histamine issues, and a girl named Sherry Bob found me on there and just sent me a message saying, I can relate, and she's like,
All right. Well, we exist as a grassroots coalition of the informed worldwide. And it's, so Sherry Bob can tell you how to get the supplements at wholesale and also tell you how to take them and answer any questions that you have about, particulars about it. And that's how we do it, through a network of distributors all around the world. So lean on Sherry Bob for the details of how to take the stuff. And give me a shout back.
I'm worried about, all my sensitivities. Like any drugs I take have to be compounded because I'm so sensitive.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. All right. So Sherry Bob will be able to help you articulate the details of that. And if you have any other questions about it as you go down the track, just call me back here. But that's a really good place to start. The Healthy Digestion Pack and selenium. 1 healthy digestion pack, 2 bottles of selenium. Make sure you stay off of the 10 bad foods, and give me a shout back every couple of weeks with an update. We will dial this in. And tomorrow, just for you, Barbara, it's all about geographic tongue in the first hour. Thanks so much for the call, and best
Thank you so much.
luck. Ladies and gentlemen, you've done it again. You've wasted 2 entirely good hours listening to me. God willing, I'll be back in the saddle tomorrow. Tonight, Introduction to Longevity, 8 p.m. for Dr. Glidden Insiders only. See you then.